It's Wednesday, time for another Action Figure Adventures video here on SEO Toy Review. Today, Baby Skeletor and I are taking a look at the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle Classic Collection Rocksteady figure. This guy looks just like he did back in the late 80s. I can't wait to take him out of the package and relive my childhood with this guy. Classic Collection Rocksteady. Love the packaging. Looks very much like the vintage packaging. Now they all had character-specific artwork, and they've sort of taken that character-specific artwork from the four turtles and just used it on these packages as a constant card logo instead of Rocksteady being on Rocksteady's package and Mikey being on Michelangelo's package. I have the four turtles from this line, but I kept them sealed because I actually have loose vintage turtles. I don't have Rocksteady. I had him as a kid, and I kind of got out of collecting Ninja Turtles for a long time, and I got rid of a lot of my vintage Ninja Turtle figures, and I never got a new one, never recollected a vintage one. So when I saw this one, I decided to pick it up. I have a vintage Bebop somewhere, and I have not seen this new modern remake Bebop yet. If I remember correctly, I mean, this is pretty much accurate, but I do feel like the plastic is a little bit shinier, and maybe the camo pants are a little bit darker than they were on that vintage figure, but like I said, I can't compare them because I don't have the vintage figure anymore. Back of the package has that cool little comic that explained to you how the Ninja Turtles mutated. I think this is so critical for toy lines. They have to explain to kids what the backstory is, so that way if a kid hasn't seen the show, they can get into it, and if there isn't a show for it, the kids can get into it. The bottom of the package shows off the other figures in this line. I've seen the Four Turtles, I've seen the Foot Soldier, I've seen Rocksteady, and Krang. I have yet to see a Bebop or Shredder anywhere. I think I saw Splinter, but I'm not sure. Taking a closer look at Rocksteady here out of the package. He's got his little belt with the turtle shells on it, and of course he came with the sprue of weapons. This is classic Ninja Turtles right here. Comes with the machine gun, the sewer lid shield, and a knife. Gray was definitely the correct color for these accessories, but I did always find it interesting that they gave all gray accessories to an all gray character. He can hold the shield and the machine gun very nicely. I can't remember whether his little armbands were painted on the vintage figure or not. I don't specifically remember them being painted, but at the same time I don't really even remember them being on the vintage figure. So it's kind of a weird, confused memory from my childhood there. I do know that I always stored that knife in the belt on my vintage figure, and I had a hard time getting it to stay in there. The belt kept coming undone. So I don't know if the belt's a little bit more flexible, or that little bump at the end here that slips through here is a little bit smaller than before, or maybe I had just kind of stretched mine out a little bit as a kid. I don't know. I did get it to stay eventually there, but I always stored it back there. The knife also feels a little bit gummier, like the blade's a little bit thinner than the vintage knife, if I remember correctly. But the other accessories felt pretty stiff.
Oh, boss, I'll get those stinking turtles.
In the comments below, let me know who your favorite Ninja Turtle villain is. This has been an Action Figure Adventures video. Do Baby Skeletor a favor, hit that like and subscribe button.
Oh, gee, boss. I'll get those stinking turtles.